We need to find more opportunities to roll a D20 on the podcast.
No, literally.
All right.
D20's
Draft pick.
nuts.
That was so stupid. That was so stupid.
Hello and welcome to the Nerdiest Podcast, a show where nerds talk about nerdy things. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Mr. Jackson Glass, and today we're doing a little draft for you, a little childhood show draft that we're going to be talking about our favorite childhood TV shows that we grew up on, and we hope that you can relate in a way or look at it and listen and just be like, oh my gosh, I'm so old. I remember when that was out. So we're going to have a lot of fun, but it's also a draft style, like we're building a team, which means if one of us picks a show, the other person can't have it on their list. So we're also going to talk about recently what we've been watching, as I saw some movies this week, and one of them was, and so before we get into that, very excited here. Thank you for being here. If you're not following us on Instagram, you can go there at the Nerdiest Podcast. We've been very active there recently, so there's a lot of great content about new episodes and original content going on over there at Instagram, the Nerdiest Podcast, or on YouTube at the Nerdiest Podcast, where you can watch similar content like that and video versions of your favorite episodes. Give us 5 stars everywhere. That out of the way, Mr. Nick Barrett, how are you today?
Tired.
The host with the most, who's always sleep deprived.
Exactly. I need to get that on a hat or a sticker or something. No. Okay. So you might be wondering, why am I so tired? Well,
right.
In the last 2 weeks, my alarm has failed me twice.
Oh.
It was last Friday. I was wicked tired, man. So I was asleep, and I kind of woke up naturally, and it was a little brighter. Like I could see the light coming in through the top of the curtains, and it was a little brighter than normal. And I was like, why is that?
That's a little
weird.
And
then I lean over and look at my phone. So does your phone, when you turn it sideways and it's plugged in, it does the little screen thing? Have you seen that?
No.
Oh, hold on. I'll show you.
I gotta see this.
So when the
Is this the newest update?
Let's see if it's gonna do it.
Well, my lock rotation is on 24/7, so.
Okay, so it's like this.
Oh, so it can act as an alarm clock.
Yeah, you have to turn it on in the settings. It's not like a thing that's
I'm
over
that? Here what's what?
You see that?
Where?
The little flashing thing, right by my finger.
Oh, I do see that.
What is that? Oh, that's the camera. It's looking for me.
Oh,
because this thing is motion sensitive to activate. Okay, I hate that. I'm turning that off. That means this thing's been watching me sleep for the last 3 weeks.
Well, what are they getting out of that?
Probably nothing good. Anyway, so it was on that screen, right? And I look over and it's 7:48. And I was like, oh, I have to be to work at 8.
Oh, that's nice.
I fly out of bed, throw some clothes on, brush my teeth. I'm sliding down the stairs. I'm like, dude, I'm going to be late. So, and then it did it again yesterday.
So you really hit him with the Disney Channel original, sorry, Mom, I'm late for school. And she has this full platter of waffles and pancakes and eggs and sausage. And you're like, oh, I'll have a strawberry, thanks.
Yeah. So it did it again yesterday. Thankfully, it wasn't, because usually I get up at 6 and the alarm was 6:20. And I was like, okay, this one wasn't as egregious.
Right.
It just didn't go off. And I was like, okay. So I now have set a backup timer or a backup alarm on my iPad that's 2 minutes after the main one. So if the main one for some reason fails again, 2 minutes later, the iPad one will go off. That'll wake me up. Because there are some days where I absolutely will sleep through my alarm.
Do you not set more than one?
No.
No,
I said 1.
That's the problem.
What are you talking about?
No,
I never understand people who set multiple
thing.
alarms. They're like, I have one at 6, I have one at 6:15, 6:05, 6:10, 6. No, just get up at 6.
No, but it's not that easy. It's not that easy.
Listen,
Some of us
man.
are ill-disciplined.
Listen, man, I've dragged myself out of bed at 6 a.m. every day of the week for the last year and a half.
See,
If
that's
I
fair.
can do it, anyone can do it.
But also, like, sometimes, now for me, this is what I do, is I set an alarm, and then there's another alarm either 5 or 10 minutes after based on the severity of
Why?
when I need to get up. Because then I can get up, realize, because it kind of, like, adds this little buffer space of, oh, I'm going to roll over and go back to sleep for just a minute.
No.
But 5 minutes late, then you don't, like, fall back asleep. Because then you actually get up in another like 5 minutes. I'm good. I only set 2. I know people that set like 8.
My stepsister
only do
sets like
2.
4. I'll hear him go
Ew.
off sometimes in the morning, like while I'm getting ready. I'll hear it ding before I get in the shower. I'll hear it ding when I get out. I'll hear it ding as I'm walking out of my room. I'm like, dude,
Yep.
what do you need
No,
4
I said 2.
alarms for?
I can do 2. I like after if I'm like in bed and I'm like I know that I'm gonna struggle to get up tomorrow, I'll set 3. And I think, and maybe that's your solution is you just need like you got to do 6, 6:05, and 6:10. That's when you
No.
because then it gives you buffer space to like sleep more if you
No,
want.
because
But
I
then
don't
you're
like
not
the buffer
like
space because I have like a morning workout devotional routine thing that I do. in the
so you
morning
just
now.
get up.
Yeah, so I just get up.
That's
Like,
crazy.
If I sit on my phone at all, like if I open it to anything aside from like Spotify or the Bible app, I'm not getting
Right.
up till like 6:30.
Right.
Like I'll
Well-
endlessly scroll Twitter or message people on Discord. Like I'll be stuck.
Well,
So
the
I have to
buffer
just
space
get
is
up.
the buffer space is not phone time; it's bedtime.
But what's the point? Like that, I just don't understand.
I can
that. I've never
slowly
gotten
go into the
power.
day.
I've never gotten more like rest from a power nap or anything.
It's not about more rest; it's about slowly going into your day.
No.
You're like,
No.
I got to think
No.
about what I'm doing. I got to visualize my success for
No.
about 5 minutes before I
You
get out of bed.
Jump out of the deep end. And you go for it.
No.
You get out there. You start
Okay.
working out in the morning. You stretch.
It's time to rise and grind.
Do the whole 100%. Anyway, aside from that,
yeah.
my week's been pretty good. Just working on YouTube stuff, getting that done. Trying to find time to play video games, man. I gotta shape up before Switch 2. And then I did. So the Discord I'm in with a bunch of my like friends from Twitter and stuff. We did a movie night last week. We watched Emperor's New Groove, which was great. Until I had to pay $3 for it because I couldn't get into Jackson's Disney Plus,
No,
which was not his
sorry.
fault.
No.
And it wouldn't. Okay, so in order to like screen share a movie on Discord, you have to have
Right.
hardware acceleration turned off on your browser and on Discord. It has to be both. It can't be one or the other. Which means that we watched Emperor's New Groove in 720p HD because I rented it on Prime Video. And Prime Video is like, well, if you don't have hardware acceleration on, we're not going above 720. And I was like, I mean, that's fine. This movie came out in 2000. It's whatever.
Right.
Only then, to like 5 minutes into the movie, come to the realization that I could have rented it on YouTube and bypassed
then
that
just-
whole system
Yeah.
entirely. And I was like, and it's too late to get a refund on the Amazon one because I already pressed start.
Right.
So this revelation would have been great like 6 minutes ago.
So here's my question: could you have, in theory, like capture card like an Xbox into like a shareable device with like a DVD?
What do you mean? Like,
Could you capture card your Xbox into your computer as an output or an input, and then share a DVD as that?
I don't think so.
This is really nerdy. Like, this is deep in the weeds of like
Because I think
technical, but like
Xbox and, well, I know PlayStation does. I don't know about Xbox, but PlayStation has very specific, like if you turn off hardware acceleration, which is what I hate. This is why I hate streaming on PlayStation. This is why, for those of you who follow my streams, this is why I never stream on PlayStation because it's stupid.
yeah.
To use a capture card on PlayStation, you have to turn hardware acceleration off. Or graphics enhancement, whatever they call it.
Yeah.
But that also means you can no longer open things like Crunchyroll, Netflix, Hulu, whatever. It only opens games. Even then, it's a little particular about what games it will and won't open while that's
That's
off.
crazy.
Which is so stupid. So I
That's
would imagine
crazy.
Xbox has a similar thing.
Yeah.
They're not as picky about like you don't need to turn it off for games. But I'm
Right.
sure because it knows it's being streamed, like what it's running through.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure if I try to open like Netflix or something or a DVD, it's going to be like, you can't
Right,
open
it's
this
gonna
while
black
connected to
screen
this
you.
device.
Mm-hmm.
So I've gotten around the black screen. It's fine when streaming. It's just Prime Video specifically
Right.
doesn't like that. So
That's fair.
it was a good rewatch though. I haven't watched it in a while. So that's really all
There
I
you
did.
go.
I can't think of anything else that's like meaningful to
Right.
talk about.
Meaningful.
Oh,
My
actually,
existence is meaningless, by
Actually-
the way.
I did want to point this out. The one time I did stream on PlayStation, I played Genshin, right?
Right.
And I uploaded the Twitch stream itself didn't do too good. I got a couple new followers, but that was like the last
Mhm.
stream I did on Twitch, and now I'm done. So then I uploaded the VOD to my VODs channel just to be like, oh, it's whatever, like putting them
Right.
all out there. And it kind of, I was like, I get like 10, 20 views, whatever. Yeah, we're sitting at 2.4 thousand views later, and I already
For
have
a stream.
1,500 hours of watch time from that stream.
For
alone.
a stream.
I'm almost halfway to the monetization threshold of
Right.
watch time, and I'm like, what?
What happened?
I was in the wrong market. I should have been streaming Genshin the whole time.
Dang.
So I'm like, all right, here in the near future, we're just gonna be grinding out Genshin streams and see what happens. If it's the
There you
power
go.
I gotta mess with to get that second channel monetized, I mean, it is what it is. Like,
You know, sometimes we all make mistakes in the heat of passion.
and that
That
passion
happens
is
to the
getting
best
my
of us.
second channel monetized
Money.
to make a little more passive income. That's all.
Cha-ching.
Anyway,
There
so
ain't
now I'm done.
nothing passive about that income. Let me tell you. That is a
Yeah.
grind.
Yeah, you gotta keep it up, man.
Anywho, yeah, this week we recorded 2 weeks. The last 2 weeks have just been pretty busy. I've been doing a lot of school, but I've been doing a lot of videos for school. It wasn't this week, but it was the week before that I completed 9 different videos in 7 days, which is a new record because during the summer I had a I had a client that I was working on, and they were like, yeah, we need this in like 2 days, and there was like 8 different groups to film with, and so I did 8 videos in 3 days over the summer, but they were like very small, but like this was like different stuff. So I did 9 videos in 7 days, which was actually really awesome. But in the middle of that, I was stupid sleep deprived, and it was my own doing because me and my roommates, we all started watching Severance, which is on Apple TV Plus. And let me tell you, we're done with the first season. We watched it in like a week. There's like 9 episodes. It's not that hard, but we're only all free because we're all in school and we have jobs and stuff. We're pretty much only all free after like maybe 10:30 p.m. And so we were like, so Severance tonight, what are you guys doing at 11? And we would turn on like 2 episodes. So I wouldn't go to bed till like 1, like almost every night. And then of course I'd have to get up at like 6:30 for work. And so anyway, that was detrimental to my health, but I had to know. And so this is my quick Severance review is if you have Apple TV Plus and you like mysteries, if you like thrillers, this is the show for you. If you like dramas, I didn't think Adam Scott had it in him, but he is genuinely like maybe one of the best actors out there right now. But I only know him from Parks and Rec or Step Brothers. And so he absolutely kills in that show. And it's such a subtly terrifying premise because it is essentially, and it's directed by Ben Stiller of all people. And he does incredible, by the way. It's essentially a creative interpretation and visualization of hell, where they cannot leave, they cannot know what they're doing, they can't know what's going on, they cannot know who they are. they are completely isolated from the world, and they have to do and they have to like meet their quota, like quarterly quota, and it's insane. It's insane. 10 out of 10. Highly recommend. We just finished the first season, which we're kind of behind on, but the second season is active right now, so we're about to start that. Update to follow. I am fulfilling my New Year's resolution of watching more TV. So there you go. I want to actually have TV to talk about at our year in review. So
yeah, it would be great. So it's not just me talking about anime for 10 minutes.
Make you look like a weirdo.
What was my resolution? I don't remember. Oh, it was to finish those games.
Too
That's
late.
what it was. It was those two things. That's
January 31st. He already forgot.
Didn't even make it a month, man.
Man, he was close. He was close. The finish line was right there. Yeah, I also this week saw 2 movies in the theater. One of them was during for a school event. We did our annual midnight movie, and we watched Interstellar in the movie theater. Which, by the way, Interstellar in the movie theater slaps, goes crazy. But it also was at midnight, and so it ended at like 3:30. It ended like right after 3, and then I had to stay and help clean up.
Ew.
It was rough, but it was awesome. And I got home. I went to bed at like 4 a.m. last Friday. It was after watching Severance every night that week and staying up till 1. And I got kind of a high, you know?
Oh,
and
no.
I felt very...
You discovered the lack of sleep high.
Right, because it was like 4, and I was like, I feel like I could take on the world. I feel like I could, and then I went... So, yeah. I dressed up as Darth Vader for this event to kind of like welcome people, because we were also playing Star Wars. So there is a video of me dressed as Darth Vader running around on a broom singing Defying Gravity. So we'll see if that video ever sees the light of day, but I think it's pretty funny.
I want to see that video.
I can send it to you. But what I really want to talk about is a movie I saw in theaters. And let me preface, I was desperate. I was talking to Amy. We were like, we really just want to go to the movie theater. We haven't been in the movie theater in a long time. I really wanted to like start my like 2025 like movie ranking for the year, but like nothing good was coming out. So we were looking at the theater, and I was like, all right, we could either go see One of Them Days, which is a new comedy with SZA and Keke Palmer, or we could go see Mufasa. And I'm sure you can tell where this is going. We went and saw Mufasa. Now, I will say my experience was a little thwarted because I made a rookie movie theater mistake that I'm so embarrassed by, and it's that I was in such a rush because we were like slightly late. I was in such a rush that and we were using a gift card, so I couldn't pre-buy tickets, and we were rushing, and I looked and I selected seats, but I was looking at the wrong orientation of the theater, if that makes sense.
I like where this is going.
So
I like where this is going.
I selected my seats, and I said, awesome, this is it, and I took it, and it said like B7 and 8 or something like that, and I went up, and I was like, oh, I know where they are, I don't need to look at the letters, and then I went to D78, which is like third to last row up, and we sat there, and we were like, oh, this is cool. And then the movie starts. So the movie's been playing for like 10 minutes when these people come to the side with one of the employees. And he was like, hey, these aren't your seats. And I was like, bull. These absolutely are. I fought them. I was like, I'm going to show you my ticket. This is it. And he said, I was like, suck it. These are my seats. Also, why are you coming into the movie 10 minutes late? Kicking me out of my seat. Like, it's already started.
I feel like if the movie started, it's over.
No, you've lost your right to like
maybe
the
like
pre-reserved
10 minutes.
seat.
I've seen people come in like 10 minutes
right.
late. But
right.
that's
10
like,
minutes
after
but
that,
like after 10, it's like, all right, we're shuffling seats around
15
by that
minutes
point.
late,
Like,
I'm legally allowed to take your seat.
No, literally. So he was like, yeah, you're in B7 and 8. And I was like, oh, that's embarrassing. So it's like front row us. It's like screen front row us. And I kid you not, it was such a weird experience because I was like, is this what it's like to sit in the front row? And I was like looking straight up, and I asked, I was like, is this okay? And she was like, yeah, it's like I'm on the Flight of Passage at Animal Kingdom. Because we were so close to the screen. And I kid you not, I hate the front row because I gotta look up and it hurts my neck, and it smelled like weed down there. I was like, who is coming to Mufasa to light up in the front row? What is this place?
Did you not go to the theater that had the reclining seats?
No, we did. And but second to last row, like even if you're reclined, you're kind of like, it did feel like I was on a Disney ride.
Close. Can we
right? Just account for it and make it bigger.
Can we just get rid of those?
Oh my gosh. Anyway, so we were in the front row. It was fine. The movie itself, I'm not gonna go too deep into because I'm planning a YouTube video about it. But essentially,
you say that every time.
I do say that every time because I'm always working on stuff I never finish.
Don't work faster.
So essentially, the story of Mufasa is not that bad. It's really not terrible. I've seen a lot worse, and it was a lot better than I expected. But the second that they started singing, we audibly laughed at every song because it was, dare I say, some of the worst music to ever graze a Disney movie. And I'm not even just talking about what did you say about my brother? What did you say about my brother? Like, that was one of the better songs. I'm dead serious. The villain song in this movie is titled Bye Bye.
Bye.
And I need you to go listen to it because it is criminal. Not even like good Backstreet Boys. Bye Bye Bye. Like, it is criminal. And it was just kind of like, I kind of came to the conclusion that like Lin-Manuel really can cook when he's writing something he's passionate about. But when he's doing it for a check, he phones it in so hard. And I also guarantee you that Disney did not give him enough context for writing his songs. I imagine they just told him like the general outline of the story because all of the songs felt very disconnected and just didn't really work in the movie at all. So anyway, if you feel like you want to go see Mufasa, it's fine. I'm working on a video that's like a little deeper about it, but also like this photorealistic style of animals is so bleak and so boring, and it's not it. It's really not it, and I really wish they just abandoned the style. But anyway, it also kind of flopped at the box office. In a sense, it definitely didn't do poor, but it definitely didn't do as well as they wanted it to. So anyway, that's my Mufasa spiel. Watch it on Disney Plus if you want a good laugh. The story's not terrible, but the music is garbo.
This is awful.
Are you listening to it?
I listened to the first line and I was like, this is disgusting.
No, right.
What am I listening to?
Like the worst
gross.
villain song. It is the worst villain song.
Dude, what happened to the aura that Be Prepared had? You know what I'm saying?
No, literally. Also think about like I don't know. Wish was bad. The music in Wish was atrocious. It may have been better than
Here's a question I want to ask
Mufasa.
you though. I just thought about this. How did you enjoy Mufasa as someone who's not a big fan of The Lion King, like the original?
Yeah. So I thought about that too because when we were looking at movies, I was like, well, I don't love The Lion King. But the thing is, I don't love The Lion King like as a story. It's just not my favorite. I think it's a little overhyped. But I was interested to go into this one trying to see if it would change my mind. Because they were going a lot deeper into the backstory and a lot more of the lore of Mufasa and Simba and like Scar. And so I went in with a very open mind actually, and I was like, I really wanted to see if it would change my opinion and my thoughts. And I think it did. And it did because it made me realize The Lion King is not as bad as I thought it would be. is not as bad as I thought it was, because I saw what it could have been, and at least it's better than that.
You know,
So,
that's fair. I can't fault you for that.
That's not a great lesson that you want people to learn from your movie. But that's my biggest takeaway is maybe I was a little too harsh on The Lion King.
Perhaps I judged you too hard.
Yikes. Anyway, go listen to the soundtrack. There's one good song on it, and oh my gosh, I want to make sure I get the name right. It's like their one like romantic song. Because when it came on in the theater, what is it? I think it's Tell Me It's You. Tell Me It's You is actually kind of good.
Feel the love tonight.
Tell Me It's You is actually kind of good because it actually is like in Lin-Manuel Miranda's style. And it was kind of like, it had like a really good like groove to it. And so like it came on in the theater and we were like, dude, why'd they low-key put like baby making music in this movie? Because it was like
we got to do something to raise the birth rates.
It was kind of like, and his whole thing is like, tell me again, tell me how you'll always be mine, tell me again. And it was like, oh, the lions are kind of getting a little frisky. I don't know about that. But also, if you've seen the original Lion King, you're like, yeah, that's what they do. Guilty. Anyway. Yeah, that's what I gotta say. Unless you have anything else to add about our week, I think it's time to draft. This is the one draft you cannot dodge. Now, before we
that's not the right theme. But we can pretend that this is like
we can pretend that was the right.
This is the closest
theme.
I'll ever get to a fantasy football draft.
Yeah. So we're about to draft our favorite shows, but thank you so much for being here. And I'll show you one more time that if you like what we do here, make sure you give us a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And follow us with all the links in the description down below. I'm on YouTube. Nick's on YouTube. We're all on Instagram. Like, you can follow all of us with the links down below. The Nerdiest Podcast on YouTube and Instagram. And our personal stuff is also down there. Thank you so much for listening. The show's been doing really well. And we really appreciate you guys and your support. And we really love how the direction the show's going. And it's really, really good so far. So, that being said, Nick, what are the rules of our childhood show draft today?
The rules are simple. There are none. If you kill each other in ritualistic combat, it's over. No. Okay. The rules are actually very simple. It runs very much like a football draft, where so our number is 9. We have 9 open slots. I have mine picked out, but if Jackson takes it, so let's say I got to think of one that's not on my list. Star Wars Rebels is not on my list, right? If I have it on my list and Jackson says, oh, I'm going to take Star Wars Rebels, I can't have it. So this could be very interesting because we both have a lot of shows that we've seen as kids. I have 6 backups just in case. I don't think I'm going to need them.
I think we have like maybe 3 or 4 like heavy hitters that we both want, and outside of that, I don't think we're gonna overlap too bad.
Yeah, I think it'll be okay.
See.
And then at the end, we can just like obviously go over our main draft, but then I'll say what was on my backups, and we'll call it a day. How do you want to decide who goes?
We should flip.
First?
We should flip a coin.
No, I'll do you one better. Let's not flip a coin. I'll do
Let
you
me get
one
a coin
better.
out of my giant dinosaur piggy bank.
Hold on. We can do this true nerd style. I'll roll a D20.
Roll a D20.
All right.
Well, you gotta define the.
Do you want? Okay, so do you want to be 1 through 10 or 11 through 20?
I'm gonna say 1 through 10.
All right, 1 through 10. I'll take 11 through 20. All right.
Come on. No whammies. No whammies. No whammies.
I gotta
this
figure
is
out.
for all big money. Big money. Big
Hold on.
money.
I gotta move my.
Come on. No whammies. Big money. Big money. Big money. Oh.
7.
Yes.
All right. Jackson gets to go first. We need to find more opportunities to roll a D20 on the podcast.
No, literally.
All right.
D20
Draft
is
pick.
nuts.
That was so stupid. That was so stupid. Oh my goodness, I hate that. I hate that so much.
D20's nuts. All right.
Take your pick. Oh, we also
wanna...
can't do it snake style because then we would just each be doing 2 every time, and that would go way too fast.
Right.
So just 1 at a time.
All right. I feel like I need to pick like a heavy hitter first.
I mean, you don't have to. You can pick in whatever order you want. That's why we talked about taking the numbers off. That's why mine's just a grid.
Right. But I'm trying to like, oh. All right. I'm going to take one that I think influenced my sense of humor a lot over time. And as I look back, I realized it was a very big influence on me, and I didn't even realize it. And I still think this show holds up so well today, and I think it's never been more necessary. That's why I'm taking VeggieTales off the list first. I'm so sorry.
That's the one I was hoping you weren't going to take. All right.
Suck it.
Well, at the very
That's my
least,
one.
I'm going to have to... I don't know which backup I'm going to use.
All right.
All right.
I was like, I
know
which ones that you want.
Okay. I'm having to do this on my iPad. Canva on my iPad is not the best. Okay. So you're the backup. All right. First down. Other various related sports terms.
All right.
First
down.
I don't know what the kids say.
Single.
That'll be you on Valentine's Day. Got him.
Got him. I actually don't know what I'm doing for Valentine's Day. We'll get there.
Me either.
Huh. We should have a conversation after.
I know my night is open. The lady friend just hasn't told me what she wants to do yet.
The lady friend.
Which is fair. Okay.
Fair. Based.
All right. My pick. Thanks, man, for taking the one
I'm sorry.
I wanted.
I didn't mean to
What
instantly start this off
goober
as I didn't mean to start this off on such an intense note, but that's the one I just really wanted.
Yeah,
because it was so influential to me.
That's why I was hoping I was going to get to go first, because that was going to be my first pick. I was like, this is the one for sure that I know we have in common.
Yep.
Okay, so my first pick will be a show that has been incredibly influential on me as well. And kind of defined an era of my childhood. Oh, I should also say all of our shows are we capped off at when we were 14, 15.
Oh, right.
I should have clarified that.
Yeah.
So now that we put that in there.
This is middle school and before.
Yeah. Now, this show kind of extended past that in terms of influencing my life, not necessarily the show itself.
Right.
But this is a show I never thought I was going to get into. When I first saw it on network television, I was like, I hate this, and this is so dumb.
Network television.
It's whatever. And then I watched it on Netflix, and I was like, something in my 11-year-old brain clicked. I was like, I understand now.
Okay.
And that is going to be Lego Ninjago Masters of Spinjitzu.
Those were the two. I knew VeggieTales and Ninjago were going to be the ones that we were going to fight over. And I was like, if this man chooses something that's not Ninjago right now, he's an idiot.
Yeah, I knew. I was like, I have to find a way to get both of these in the first go. Otherwise, it's over. That's
on me for not daggum. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't have started my Lego YouTube channel if not for Lego Ninjago. So
that's true.
Still my highest subscribed YouTube channel ever. So
that's kind of sad.
17.3 thousand.
That's crazy. I still don't know how you did that. All right.
Me either.
Moving on. to a show that I don't think you're going to have just based on the conversations we've had. But it's another show that I can go back to as an adult and kind of like pick out how it really like influenced me in my sense of humor and in my creative ability and the things that I think are funny and in the ways things that I think are good. And it kind of, in a weird way, shaped my taste in film for a long time. And it's gonna sound really stupid when I say it, but I'll explain. And that is none other than SpongeBob SquarePants.
Oh yeah, I definitely don't have that one.
Yeah, I figured you didn't. No, like SpongeBob, looking back, like especially the first like 3 seasons, it is genuinely one of the most charming cartoons we've ever made. It's incredibly funny and incredibly sweet and heartfelt. And I kind of like, I've been trying to figure out, I'm like, why were so many people not allowed to watch this? And I think it's just because it was annoying. And becoming an adult is realizing that your mom said no to certain shows, not because of the content, but it's because she just didn't want to watch it, which is so fair. But that's just a really bizarre realization of like, why, like, because I was allowed to watch SpongeBob for a while, and then they were like, nah, never mind, you're not allowed. And I was like, what? And I think it's because they just thought it was annoying. But looking back, there's some incredible bits and memes from SpongeBob that I just will never stop quoting.
That's fair. That's fair.
So there you go. That's my second
fun
pick.
story. I got grounded for 2 weeks once for watching SpongeBob. So I was not allowed to watch it. I was not allowed to watch anything on Nickelodeon, actually. And
which is a fair assumption.
We had a box TV with like the curved screen and everything.
Yeah. Tube.
And you could always like go stick your hand on it and you could feel the static right after it turned off. It was great. But our remote had the switch back and forth. Like you could load up 2 channels and press one button and switch back and forth. So my mom was like in the shower or whatever, and I was sitting in my room watching TV. And I had it on PBS Kids, but then I really wanted to watch SpongeBob. So I loaded up the other channel as Nickelodeon. So
you could flip if she
opened the door, I could flip. And I thought I was
You're
so
brilliant.
smart.
You're
I
brilliant.
had it under control. And I heard the bathroom door open, and I switched it. And I put the remote back down. And I was kind of sitting there. And she was like, "What are you watching?" I'm like, whatever's on PBS Kids or whatever. She was like, "Can I see the remote?" I'm like, Sure.
And
I hand it to her, hits the button, switches back to SpongeBob. She's like, "All right, no TV for you for 2 weeks." And I was like,
gosh.
And I never watched SpongeBob again.
You thought you were so smart.
I thought I was slick, man.
You thought you were so slick.
Thought I got it. Funny story that actually segues nicely into my next pick, which is going to be a PBS Kids classic that I honestly wish we still had, because it was kind of unhinged, and I didn't realize how unhinged it was until I saw like a compilation on Instagram. So
I think you're gonna take something off of my list.
It was one of those shows. I got up every morning 7 a.m. I was ready to lock into PBS Kids, dog. I didn't even need an alarm. Woke up at 6:55, found the remote, turned it on, 7 a.m., and what do I find? Arthur. It's my second pick.
Dang
Arthur. It's such a good show, dude. Oh my goodness.
Dude.
All the like, it's really unhinged in the way that like Arthur and DW talk, where he's like, it's for only children. A lonely child is what you're gonna be when I sell you. And I'm like, dude, that's how I talk to my sister. In like a funny way, not like I'm actually gonna sell you, but like
It's
in a funny haha kind of way.
We jest.
I think established why I'm so unhinged.
Dang.
Even though
that show is really
I self-identified with Buster because he didn't have a dad. But as time went on, I'm more of an Arthur. Like, I'm just a little bit insane.
I think that's fair.
But I'm just sane enough. You know what I mean?
love my favorite episode of Arthur is when he gets into marketing and starts selling all his toys on the internet. And he takes the little toy soldiers out and puts them in a bigger box, and he puts now bigger size. And she's like, you can't say that. You just put it in a bigger box. He goes, this is called marketing, DW. Get with it. And I think about that all the time because he's so right. That was such a good commentary
It's
for
what
children.
they do with chips, man. They put the same amount of chips in every
gosh.
bag. Bigger bag, more money.
I swear.
More money, less chip.
Okay. More money, less trip. That's what I say. All right, my next pick is one that I don't know if you'll have, actually. We'll see how this pans out. This is a show that I think always encouraged creativity. This is a show that always made me laugh, and it still makes me laugh today. And I really think it had a lot of great music, and it had a lot of really witty writing that I don't know if I appreciated at the time, and I just thought it was a really good show. And now I'm marrying someone, and this is one of her favorite shows, and it's really, really interesting to go back to it and enjoy it together now. So that's why my next pick is none other than Phineas and Ferb.
Ooh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. That's where we're at.
I was not allowed to watch Phineas and Ferb.
Really?
No.
My
My mom thought it was
point.
stupid. I don't think it was.
There was.
I think it was more like what you were saying earlier, where it's like it's not necessarily
Right.
the content; it's just that they didn't want to watch it.
Right.
Yeah,
Which is
100%.
fair. There was a point where we weren't allowed to watch it, and I never understood why, because I always thought it was such a educational, air quote program, but anything that ran on Disney XD was the devil, because it was Disney Channel, but for bad skater kids.
Edgy 15-year-old boys.
It's it was, yes, literally, it was Disney Channel for the kids that would smoke in the bathroom. So it just wasn't what we should be watching. But Phineas and Ferb is a gem, truly. So anyway,
Here's
that's
the
my
thing.
pick. Highly recommend.
90% of the shows that we had growing up are so much better than anything that's on TV
No,
right now.
literally.
In a
We were in the
heartbeat.
golden age.
In a
of
heartbeat, my mom would
children's
turn
TV.
on SpongeBob or Phineas and Ferb before Coco Melon or something like
Oh.
that. Easily. She'd be
For
like, okay, it's the
sure.
lesser of two evils if you gotta watch
Yeah,
something.
it's
Watch
fine.
that. At least it's clean.
Or even if you turn on the Disney Channel or Nickelodeon or and there was always bad shows on those networks. Those are the ones we weren't allowed to watch. If Sanjay and Craig came on, we'd flip the channel because that show was just butt jokes for 20 minutes. But even now, I feel like the bad is outweighing the good. And we really did have the golden age of children's television.
Yep.
Arguably,
Hasn't
you
been
could
good
argue
since then.
the 90s, but I'm come on.
Early
Phineas and
2000s?
Ferb,
We got it on lock,
yeah,
bro.
Yeah, we got it on lock, bro.
There's
All right, hit
one
me with another
show
pick.
that I'm not worried about it at all. It's going to be my last one because I know you don't have it on your list. I'm for certain it's not on there.
I'm trying to think. There's a
Um,
couple on here that I'm I don't know.
Yeah, there's
Anyway.
I'm kind of going for my ones that I think you might have,
Right.
just so
same.
I lock them in, and then after that I'm okay, we can get a little.
It's all about the drama.
Okay, I'm jumping all over this thing. So 1, 2. My
Yeah,
third
same.
pick will be a show that was my soiree from Playhouse Disney to Disney Channel. It was the first Disney Channel show that I
oh my
watched.
gosh. Back when it was Playhouse Disney.
Yeah, dude, not even Disney Junior. Get that
Right.
fake garbage out of here. Nuh-uh.
Literally.
I remember, this is such a tangent. I remember sitting on air because they said when the switch was gonna happen, and I had the channel turned on, and I watched as they desecrated Playhouse Disney into Disney Junior, and then immediately forgot about it when Jake and the Neverland Pirates came on. I was like, oh, hold
No,
on,
literally.
this intro
Oh,
song's a
hold on.
banger. What you talking about?
They might be cooking. Hold on.
And then I let it go. But fun fact, I actually did not watch this show on Disney Channel. I watched it on Netflix on the Nintendo Wii. Yeah. Real specific. I remember having to
All
take
right.
the Wiimote and like
the
pick
Wii remote
next
and,
episode.
like,
And I also watched it while we were moving from Florida to Tennessee, so it was like my cope show, if you will.
right.
Didn't get to finish it for a while because we unplugged the Wii.
Rip.
And then we didn't have Netflix for a while. But I did finally get to finish it, and it's a show that I desperately need to go rewatch, but I don't have Disney Plus, and that is Sweet Life on Deck.
Oh.
It's so, dude.
W.
All right, listen.
W.
I know Sweet
W
Life of
pick.
Zack and Cody comes first, and like
Right.
some people think objectively that's the better show, and I can't argue with you because I've never seen Sweet Life all the way through. But what I can tell you is I've watched Sweet Life on Deck all the way through at least 5 times.
That's such a quality show.
And I'm like, dude, they don't make them like they do anymore. We need a good, like, soundstage sitcom again.
Yes.
Like,
we need a good
I don't care
multicam.
if I don't care if the DComs were bad, dude, or if the shows.
They were good.
At least they were campy.
They were funny.
They could be funny.
Yeah. I
Way to
really
go,
love
guys.
that clip from Sweet Life.
Let's shoot
I was
for
just about
40.
to say that. He's like, show that the wage gap, it has men paid 39% more than women. Way to go, guys. Let's shoot for 40. Such a... What a wild statement. Do you remember that episode of Sweet Life on Deck where they went to Kansas and there was a tornado?
Yeah. And
they found London in the tire.
Yeah, and Cody, because Cody had gone there. He didn't go with Bailey. He went like to find her.
He went to find her because she
was like, I'm going back home because I can't.
Yeah, and he went to like
something.
confess his love or whatever.
And he went back, and then there was
Yeah,
like the
there was
big
something
muscular
about
guy
that.
she dated when she lived there.
Yes,
And he was like really
yeah.
insecure about being a small, frail little kid, and I could relate to that on
Yeah.
an emotional level. And then the whole thing kind of happens, and it just is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm
I
trying to
also
think-
remember when they got stranded on that island, and it was such a
Yeah.
big deal. That was such a big deal.
I miss
Oh,
the really bad like
man.
CGI.
No, yes,
Like when they're
same.
trying to do like the establishing shots of the ship, and it's just really bad.
It's
like
really awful, like-
2007 CGI.
Somebody like booted up Blender on their like original Mac,
And we all
that
thought
fan
it was
went,
awesome.
And I was like, "Is that a real boat? Oh my god!"
I thought it was a real boat. I was fooled
I
at
thought it
least
was-
a handful of times.
I thought it was such. That was such a good show.
Were
Good,
you a-
very good.
Were
Pick.
you a Zach or a Cody kind of kid?
Okay, here's the thing. Here's what's funny is I wanted to be Zach so bad, but I was the most Cody-coded kid in history. I was like, I wanted to be cool. I wanted to be like the rebellious, gnarly, like gonna ride through on my rollerblades in the hotel lobby. I'm gonna flirt with the candy chick, whatever. But in reality, I was Cody.
Did
I
Zach
was
end
the
up
hardcore.
with anyone at the
like,
end of On Deck?
I don't feel like he did.
There was like this one girl he was really into, and
There
he
was that
like,
one girl
actually,
that they had like a thing. Yeah, I don't remember. I genuinely like. I need to
What
rewatch
is this
that.
girl's name? Yeah, it was her.
Honestly,
Maya Bennett.
did they end up together?
And she was a waitress. I don't think they ended up together.
Here's the other thing that I'll say, and then we can move on, is that these like Disney Channel sitcoms, whether you've seen them before or not, they're a really, really good, just casual watch if you want to just have a low maintenance show that's funny but still has a contiguous storyline. Because they're so simple and they're so funny and just kind of sweet. Like it doesn't make you think too hard, but it's also not stupid. They're actually doing a storyline.
So
Anyway.
they did not end up together because at the end of the series, she joined the Peace Corps in Africa and didn't
Oh
want to
my
do a long
gosh.
distance relationship.
I
so
forgot about
she
that.
left him.
I
Which is
do
so
remember
tragic
that.
because he went through such good character development to get
No,
in the
he
relationship
did.
in the first place, and he like kind of
Right.
serioused himself up.
Right. Mm-mm.
And then they
Tragic.
wanted to do a sequel, I think, like
Yeah,
another
they
one,
did.
and
yeah,
then they never
were
did.
like, no.
because they were like, Debbie
Um,
Ryan has better things to do than another Sweet Life thing, and then we never
did
saw the
she,
Sprouse
though?
brothers again.
I don't think she did though. she got into some crazy stuff. Anyway, so in a similar vein, my next pick is a show that I fully rewatched like at the end of high school. And I have a note doc. So here's the thing is I watched the you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
I watched the show in its entirety with my sister near the end of high school. And I, for whatever reason, decided that I wanted to make a video about the whole show. I wanted to do a retrospective. And I took notes of every single episode. And that is none other than Wizards of Waverly Place.
Now, I'm kind of note stock. I was like, yep, there it is.
I have a fat note document of Wizards of Waverly Place that I still haven't done anything with. I think Wizards, like, a lot of people, again, weren't allowed to watch it because it was, like, the witchcraft. And I had friends that weren't allowed to watch it. But, like, magic was never something that, like, we were shielded from because we were just kind of like, yeah, you know, don't mess with it. Like, we were warned, like, you know, psychics are really, like, bad juju. Like, don't
Evil.
mess with that. That's all evil spirit. Like, we didn't do astrology. Like, don't, like, that wasn't in our belief system. So we were like, oh, Harry Potter, like, wizards are, like, magical. They're fictional.
Right.
And so, like, that wasn't a problem for us. And I just think, like, Wizards of Waverly Place, one, has the best comprehensive story. So if you're looking for one that, like, that is more story-driven, Wizards is a really great choice. They had a contiguous story through all of their seasons. That was constantly updated. They had the best cast, and they had really good writing. They had the best soundtracks because, like, young Selena Gomez was putting out banger tracks consistently. She has an album like Selena Gomez in the Scene. Who the heck is the Scene? Who cares? That has that song goes, I love you like a love song.
Dude, I love
baby.
that song. What are you
Yeah.
talking about?
That
I
song
could
goes
kill
so
that song on
hard.
Just Dance.
That song goes so hard. Add it to Fortnite Festival. You won't. So they had that one. And then there's the who says you're not perfect? And then Disney was like ranking in that check because they'd play that music video in between the commercial breaks. And then she did a version in Spanish, and they really liked to play that one because it made them look more diverse, which they definitely were not at all. So anyway, Wizards is a great show. You should go watch it.
Yeah. All right. You know
what? Number 5?
No, this is number 4.
Oh.
Right?
Oh, that was my number 5.
1, 2, 3. No, that should have been your number 4.
That was my number 4. You're right. You're number 5.
This is my number 4. I'm going to go with one. Well, based on your last reaction, I don't think it's on here, but I'll take it anyway, is my second soiree into Disney Channel. This is like the next show that I watched. This was the first Disney Channel show I watched from start to finish.
Okay.
From like episode 1 all the way to the end.
Mm-hmm.
And that is none other than Jessie.
Oh.
Debbie Ryan's like next. I don't know if it was directly her next project, but it was like the next thing I saw her in.
Jessie is gas.
And I was like, dude.
Jessie's a very good show.
Listen.
That's a very good show.
I have a girlfriend now, but I will fully admit that as a kid, I had a fat crush on Peyton List. And it's because of Jessie.
Which is so weird because I feel like she's like the most red flag character in that entire show.
Yes. I did not have a crush on...
You also had a type,
Emma.
So...
I had a crush on Peyton List specifically.
Okay.
And Debbie Ryan. I'll just leave it there.
Right.
Jessie's good. I enjoyed it. I thought it was... I mean, it's not like the greatest show of all time, but...
Right. But it's very sweet.
It has its ups and downs. I remember there were a couple episodes that, like, got really controversial for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
Like they made some joke about allergies, like a peanut allergy, and some crunchy mom on Facebook got really mad about it and caused this uproar of like, you're appropriating my kid's allergies. That's not funny.
Right.
I'm like, dude, my mom has a peanut allergy and she thought this was hilarious. Like, calm down. It's not that deep.
Grow a pair.
And then there was another one that, like, because 2 of the kids were adopted.
Yes.
It was Ravi, and what was the other girl's name? I don't remember her name.
Zuri.
Zuri. Yeah, they were both adopted.
She's in all the yeah.
And then they did something with an episode that was like actually really good, but everybody thought it was really controversial because remember, this was like early 2010s. We still had not wrapped our mind around having not white people on screen yet.
Yeah.
Which is wild for early 2010s. So for the concept of like these rich white people to have adopted not white kids was like such a foreign concept, but the way they handled it was really well. But then everyone was like, "Oh, but we can't talk about that in the kid show," and I'm like, guys, let it go.
It's life, you know.
I also appreciated the cameo they did, where Mr. Mosby came in because they were in the hotel,
yes,
and he was like, "You look really familiar. You look,"
yeah,
and then he like calls him and is like,
he calls him,
dude,
he's like.
I found someone who looks exactly like Bailey. That's crazy.
Yeah. I remember that.
So yeah, that's my next one. Is Jesse.
Great pick. I don't know what to do next. So this next pick is a show that weirdly enough ran for one season, and
only
one season. And I cannot deny the impact that this one season had on me. And in a weird way, like really just like solidified because I was a very big, like, I wanted to do video, I wanted to do performance, I wanted to do comedy. Like as a kid, like that was like, I would eat dinner really, really fast so that my family would still be eating and they had to watch me do a show. Like this was like who I was as a child. As if that's not who I am now. Anyway, so that was just like very foundational to who I was. And so anything that was like slightly mixing up a medium that I had seen on TV before was groundbreaking to me. And I got to a point where I was really obsessed with late night television, but I wasn't allowed to watch late night shows. But if I could catch a whiff of like a late night show on like a promotional TV, like at the store, I would make sure to lock in. I'm dead serious. So anytime that there was like a switch up in medium for these shows, I would get really invested. And that's how I fell into my next pick, and that is So Random, which ran on Disney Channel for one season. And it was the spinoff of Sunny with a Chance, which Sunny with a Chance is a great show, by the way. But they ran for 3 seasons, I think. They ran for 3 seasons. And then Demi Lovato had to go to rehab. Very sad story. Whole thing. So they were like, shoot, how do we do the show without her? She's the title character. Well, on Sunny with a Chance, the whole bit was that they were child actors on a sketch show. That was the meta narrative. They then flipped the show on its head to do the actual sketch show they were doing in the show called So Random. And that's where a lot of, if you watch Smosh on YouTube, that's where a lot of the Smosh cast started, was So Random, which is so bizarre. But anyway.
One would say so random.
Kind of random. So anyway, this show, like going back, there's a lot of sketches that really fall flat and just don't work. And the musical guests are very dated. Like Mitchell Musso is there, Coco Jones and Bridget Medler are there, and they do fine. And a lot of the jokes are just kind of like, like a kid would laugh at that. But every once in a while, they hit a nail on a head for me, like as an adult, that I'm like, this is genuinely hilarious. So I don't know, So Random, it's very niche, and it's so random, but if you look up on YouTube like So Random clips, they have some banger sketches and banger music that really influenced me to like want to keep doing comedy and switch up mediums like that. So anyway, I feel like So Random deserved a spot on here for sure.
All right. I'm trying to think. I need to like clean up my board here because
yeah,
like, because I'm looking at it as a 3x3 grid. It's throwing me off so hard because I'm like, what do I have? Oh, okay, and I like have to track the number in my head. The next show I'll jump a little younger because the rest of them are kind of like 12 and up. And that will be a show that not me personally, because I couldn't afford it. But my mom got me way too financially invested in, so much so that it is going to get passed down from my kids to my kids' down the line. Family heirloom, if you will. And now listen, young boys, they pick like one thing to hyperfixate on, right?
Literally.
Could be dinosaurs, could be cars, could be planes. For me,
Trucks. Yeah.
It was trains. So the next pick is Thomas the Tank Engine. And that was my hyperfixation. Dude,
oh my
I love
gosh.
trains. All right, I still love trains to this day. Trains.
Is this a little bit of a younger? I thought this was a little bit of a younger pick than what we were going for, but I appreciate the sentiment.
I don't think you understand how old I was still being into Thomas. My big thing was whenever they made the jump from like the classic Thomas to
like the
like CG, I threw a fit, dude. I was like losing my mind.
It was trash. It was
like
trash.
it was. I was like. They can't do that. They can't.
Why would they?
Why would they do that? I was the definition of like the Polar Express kid.
You were tweaking.
Yeah, I was over like this animated show. So it's great. I miss Thomas though. I have like all of the wooden trains and the tracks and everything.
Yes,
I have like
same.
3 massive boxes in the attic, and my mom was like, "I paid a small fortune for these. These will be going to your children."
Well, they're so high quality.
Yeah,
they're so
because they're
like,
actually made out of wood and not
literally.
metal.
Gosh.
And then some of them had to get recalled because they had lead in the paint, and they were like, maybe we shouldn't be putting that in toys that are like the target demographic is kids who are gonna put it in their mouth.
Yikes.
So
anywho, so I guess we have 3 picks left.
So no, 4.
3. Oh, you're right. No, you're right. We have 4. So sorry, I messed up my sheet to confuse myself. My next pick is one that was on the PBS Kids, the Public Broadcasting Services Kids. And this was a show that So we had this era where we watched a lot of Disney Channel and Nickelodeon. We watched SpongeBob. We watched Phineas and Ferb, Wizards, all this stuff. But then, like, after a while, I was one to mimic. I was a mimicker, and I would repeat lines. I would repeat lines from these shows that were very inappropriate.
That's how I got banned from Transformers 1.
Isn't it? Anyway.
I'll let the audience decide what the word was that got me banned.
Anyway, so I'd start repeating these words, and so at one point we just cut our cable entirely. So we were either, if we had it on DVD or if it was on PBS, we could watch it. And this is when I fell into another show that messed with medium in a way that I'd never seen before, and that was none other than Fetch with Ruff Ruffman, which is a banger show that was very educational, and it made me feel like I also like my family was really like weirdly into reality TV. And because it was the 2010s, it's what we would watch The Amazing Race every Tuesday night. We watched The Biggest Loser every Friday night. Like that was what you did.
Yeah.
So like Fetched with Ruff Ruffman was like me, like it was making reality TV like realistic for kids, and it was like I could go do that. I could go, to the Space Center and solve all these riddles. They did two banger episodes of Fetch that I remember. One, the Haunted Mansion one. It just triggered my balloons on my computer. 2 episodes. One, the Haunted Mansion, where they stay the night in a haunted mansion. It was low-key terrifying. 2, there was one about like solving like ancient Egyptian riddles. And they were in this room where they had to like correlate, like it was like a picture puzzle. They had to correlate with a key, but the ceiling was like slowly coming down, and it terrified me. The idea of, I was like, why would they put those kids in that situation? And it was like,
why would they do that to these poor kids?
Why would they do that? Do they sign something for this? And I was like, I could do that. I could do that so easily. I'd be so good at it. But it was like, no, it was staged. But, it was really like, it was really fun and educational, and I was really into it. And I think about when I was making this list, I thought about shows that I like wanted to mimic and shows that like made it into like my play as a kid, and I would play Fetch with Ruff Ruffman all the time, and so like that made it in there for sure.
That's fair. There
you go.
There's a lot of PBS Kids bangers. We should do a top 10 PBS Kids
Dude.
episode.
Cyber Chase, don't even at me.
Don't let me forget. I actually came up with a really good episode idea that I need to tell you about after.
Sick.
Thank you. All right,
You're
next
welcome.
pick. Ooh, we'll go with... Yeah. Okay. Okay. So this is another one. Two more of these shows are ones that I watched from like start to finish as it was airing. One of them being the one I'm going to talk about right now. That was it was able to like recapture the same kind of hyperfixation that Trains had, but not quite, because when you like, again, young boys, you love playing with things that you can just smash them together and like,
oh yeah,
smash them, cut their arms off, and then they find some way to grow the arm back, and then they punch the back. That was me.
That's it.
So what show
That's all I require.
symbolized this for me? None other than the hit Hub Network exclusive Transformers Prime.
Oh.
Which actually
the
I
Hub
started...
Network.
I found it on Netflix. Because they had like the first few episodes did like same day launch on Netflix.
Right.
And then everything else had to be on the Hub, which I hate that it's called that. That's such a
What is the
terrible
Hub?
name. You never heard of the Hub?
No.
Hold on. Okay, hold on.
I'll look it up. You keep talking and I'll look it up.
I cannot be... Okay, it is a thing. Okay, I just want to make sure I wasn't like
It's
capping.
the Hub?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, look up the Hub like channel. And it'll come up. It's like white with purple text. You can look into it. But
Oh my gosh, it's like the Discovery Family.
yeah,
Dude.
it was
Oh
the
my
only
gosh.
show I watched on there because it was the only one I cared about. It was such a niche like channel. But I remember
Yeah.
going to their website and like tuning in and stuff to figure out when the new episodes were coming out. Because I think something we've forgotten in our streaming age is that you don't really have to advertise new seasons anymore because they just kind of pop up on Netflix. But like back in
Right.
the day with like
You had
Transformers,
to tell them what time to
Ninjago,
be there.
like you had to tell them what time, when the new season is. Like you got to do the whole thing. And I have such a high respect for that now because that's what I do at work.
Yep.
Is like I put all the commercials on air and stuff and do that, so I understand that. Transformers Prime though, goated. They've never made a better Transformers show. The only thing like that I think has come to that level of quality is Transformers 1, the animated movie that came out last year. That was like the only other project that I felt like, wow, I'm actually okay with being called a Transformers fan.
Right.
Because this is the thing. And Transformers Prime was that. The finale, dude, hit different. The cliffhanger.
Okay.
Mild spoilers, real quick. They cliffhangered the last, like, 2 episodes. Bumblebee freaking dies. Like, in the second to last episode. And then they made you wait a week to figure out what was going to happen. And then, like, he comes back because he fell in, like, this pool of energon or whatever. And then he comes back and he's got his voice back so he can talk again. And it's not just the, like, garbity gook.
Right.
And it was like, so I was like crying. I was like,
You're like,
Bumblebee! What a show.
That's lit.
What a show.
That's
Man.
lit.
All right,
Daggone.
3 more.
All right, 3 more. Let me bring it back to another Nickelodeon pick that I think is interesting to watch in retrospect. But it really, this is another one that I was not allowed to watch after a while because it was more of a teen show.
I bet I know what
Which,
it is.
looking back, it is for sure. Because I also rewatched the show like 3 years ago. But I remember watching it and being like, yeah, I shouldn't have been allowed to watch this. But it's a show that really inspired me to create, and I think that it is such a good time capsule for the early internet, because this was back in the day when you didn't have YouTube. You had to upload videos to your website and see how many hits it got, and that is none other than iCarly.
Yep.
Now, iCarly is probably defined brain rot. iCarly is stupid. It is a stupid, dumb show. But it connected so well with for the time, and it serves as such a time capsule because they upload their videos to iCarly.com. There's no YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Like, they told all their friends at school about their website, and that's where they'd go watch their live web show, which is like kind of revolutionary. And they did that, and then I could go to iCarly.com and watch funny videos there. Like, and I was like, oh my gosh, I want to do this, and now that's what I'm doing. So anyway, iCarly was very influential, and I think it's a good time capsule. And production aside of just the horrific nature of the people that worked on that show, I think the art itself is very funny and very high quality and worth going back to.
That's fair.
So there you go.
All right. This
All right.
next one, I gotta turn. I'm listening to the theme now because I'm like, oh, it's so good. So this was one I definitely was not allowed to watch, but I was like 12, 13, 14.
Mm-hmm,
So I was like right in that phase where my mom was like, okay, I'll let him like experiment with what he's watching and kind of keep a more
Right.
like hands-off approach.
Mm-hmm.
And that is none other than the hit Disney Channel show Gravity Falls, which you still have not finished. It's been
No, you're
4
right.
years, man.
I gotta just go all the way through it again, you know?
Guys, I don't think you understand. I've been trying to get Jackson to finish Gravity Falls for like
I'm
5 years.
sorry.
It's been half a decade, bro.
You're right.
We put a Gravity Falls episode
We've still never
on the
done an
calendar
episode.
every year. Every year
We've
I put
still
one on
never
there.
done it.
And I stopped doing it this year because I was like, he's never finished it. He's never going to get to it.
No, you're never gonna happen.
And this will be
you
the
know?
1 year that we actually
It's a good
get to
show.
it.
I just don't think to watch it.
Well, think. Forehead.
Think for once in your life.
Anyway, Gravity Falls was good. It kind of
Ugh.
came in at the same time as I started watching Game Theory. So I got really into like theorizing and picking up on things, looking in the background,
mysteries, and
because that's kind of what the whole show was like figuring out all these theories and stuff. And I remember when all the big like twists happened, and I was watching the episode like new as it was coming out, and it was like, whoa, that's the thing that happened, like that's crazy. And it was just, it's such a good show, like,
yeah.
and I think Disney Channel's tried to replicate the success of this and one other show that I'll talk about in a minute way too many times, because every animated Disney Channel show now has like that Gravity Falls CalArts style.
Yeah.
And none of them can hit that level because you like, if the only thing you're doing
They
is
don't get it.
imitating, you never like, you lose all the originality. So
Right.
Gravity Falls is great. Every year someone talks about them doing a sequel because Alex Hirsch says something. He's like, oh, but what if we did? He's like,
Oh, you're like, nah, you're not.
what if we did? And then they never did.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
thanks, man.
All right. All right. Well, second to last pick. In a similar vein to iCarly, a show that I was not allowed to watch after a while, rightfully so. A show that I think is still very funny. A show that evolved over its run very well. A show that I think has a pretty niche following now, and that is none other than Drake and Josh, which is, if you go look up clips or episodes or whatever, like, Drake and Josh is hilarious, and it really hit the, like, there's like an aesthetic to like teens in the 2010s where it was the kind of like long sleeved, and it was like you'd wear long sleeves and then like plaid shorts, and like that was the style. That was cool. Or you'd wear like 25 layers and it was like super hip. And I think Drake and Josh really like just delivers on that style that I can really struggle to put into words, But Drake and Josh is that like teen 2010 style where it was like, oh, we're so cool. Like our room is in the attic and we have a stop sign on our wall because we're cool and hip and dangerous. And there was just it was really, really great chemistry between Drake and Josh. They started together on The Amanda Show, which also got canceled. And then they had their own show. And it's just really, really a good time capsule that I think we kind of take for granted. Very good show. Highly recommend.
That's fair. All right, my second to last pick might be skirting the line of whether or not it should have been included.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to remember, like I started watching it when I was like 14, 15. Like it was like I started watching it there, and then I kind of followed it to its end point. I got way too invested in the show. I actually this is gonna sound really stupid. I was not allowed to watch this show for a period of time because my grandparents found out that there was like a gay couple in the background of one of the episodes. And they were like, "You're not allowed to watch that. Turn it off."
That's
and I was
insane.
like, "It's the background of one episode. It's not the show." But
that's
that
insane.
Is none other than the hit Disney Channel show Star versus the Forces of Evil.
Oh.
Dude, I got way too into this show. I was like, you know what? I don't care that the main character is a girl. That doesn't mean the show's for girls. Her best friend's a dude who does karate, and he's cool.
Karate.
I also related to the show a lot because, like, I was Marco, and my best friend was Star. So, like, it was, like, the dynamic played out really well.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of followed that to its natural conclusion, and it didn't go that well.
Didn't go great, but that's okay.
Now, granted, I will admit the show has its faults as you get into, like, the fourth season.
Right.
But I think that more so comes from the fact that Disney was like, all right, by the way, hey, guys, great that we're starting season 4. So glad to hear that. By the way, this is the last season. So, get your affairs in order in these like 12 episodes or whatever you have. Been a pleasure doing business with you. Might do a follow-up in the future, and by might, we mean no. Bye.
Bye.
And then we just moved on. This is also like the last pre-Disney Plus era show.
Yeah.
Because it ended right like the summer before Disney Plus. And then
that's crazy.
Disney Plus was here, and I rewatched it, and I was
like,
the first 3 seasons are pretty solid. Season 4, though,
they tried.
So, it's a good show, though.
All right.
I enjoy it.
Good word. All right, guys, last pick on this draft. Are you ready?
You're not gonna pick mine.
I know I'm not gonna pick mine or yours, but I am gonna pick one.
Yours.
I'm gonna pick one that I almost brought up earlier, but I decided to wait because I wasn't sure if it was going to make it. But now that I've like processed and thought about it, I think it will. And that is the Disney Channel hit classic, The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. Not On Deck, but The Sweet Life. And I can honestly say I think I share your opinion about On Deck. I really do. I think it's better just overall comprehensively. But Sweet Life is pretty much the same thing, but with less characters. And I really did enjoy The Sweet Life, and I think there was something about TV at the time that I don't think streaming something didn't take over to streaming, where it was if you lived in a house and didn't have a twin, you were a loser. I keep doing the balloons. Oh my gosh.
I'll have to teach you how to turn that
off. Oh my gosh. The little thing that keeps trying to do tries to keep doing like the AR effects on my camera. Stupid. But there was this idea that like if you were, they were focusing on these kids with like extraordinary lives, and the whole point was like, oh, what if I lived in a hotel? How crazy would that be? And it was just so fun, and I love Zack and Cody, and it's so funny to go back and be like, they were actually quite edgy for the age range and for the time. And it's really funny, and the cast has a lot of great stories from that show, and it's just like the Ashley Tisdale era of Disney Channel that just like we'll never get back to. So anyway, Sweet Life of Zach and Cody is just a classic. I can turn on anytime. I've seen every episode like twice. I love that show. I'll probably do a rewatch soon. But yeah, that's my final pick is The Sweet Life.
My final pick is the show.
Is it what I think it is?
It's the show of all time.
Is it what I think it is?
It's the show of all time, man.
Yeah,
the only show I was ever like, I need to be home at 5-4 Central. If we miss it, I'm burning the house down.
Yep.
Because we didn't have a DVR, which meant I would have to get up the next morning on Saturday and be like, oh my goodness, I missed the episode. And the DVD box sets were really delayed. And it's a whole thing. And it's the one show that has like been at my number one for the past 15 years. And that's Star Wars The Clone Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Every time. I'm glad you're picking up on it. The first like two times it was my list ender. You missed it. And then you kind of started picking up on it.
I almost said that my last pick was The Clone Wars just to make you mad.
Dude, you haven't seen it.
That's why it'd make you mad.
We need to do an episode on it. I want to rewatch it, but my DVDs are so scratched, like horrendously beyond belief. I was really hoping that Disney would be cool and think, well, let's make money and do like a complete box set of seasons 1 through 7.
Yeah.
It still hasn't happened yet. And I'm like, well,
we'll see. There's still time.
We're going to see how desperate they get. But yeah, The Clone Wars is this incredible show. It's got its pitfalls, especially in like the first 2 seasons. It's got a couple like filler arcs that go up and down. But I think it's the one Star Wars project that was able to accurately capture George Lucas's creative vision for what Star Wars should be by taking these 7 seasons and really fleshing out this war that kind of got glanced over in 2 and 3, because you just kind of jump from Attack of the Clones to Revenge of the Sith. So to put an entire story set there, and even with some of the parameters they had to work with, like Anakin and Grievous can never meet because they meet for the first time in episode 3.
Mm-hmm.
Ahsoka is obviously not in any of the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we kind of got to work around that. And, Anakin and Obi-Wan can't really change because their characters are pretty resolutely set. But with all of that set in place, they were still able to tell this incredible story with incredible world building. And, like, we got Mandalore and the Mandalorians and all of this stuff with Darth Maul. And, like, it was just crazy. And I loved it as a kid. Oh my gosh, dude!
As a kid,
as a now,
as
an adult, no, it's still goated, man.
Oh gosh,
I need to do a full series rewatch.
Man, unless you have anything else to add,
I don't.
You know, I think we're at the end of our draft here, guys. We want to know what your top childhood shows were. We're gonna do a Christian sticker on Instagram sometime this week, so make sure you're following there and. It'll be in the link down below. There'll be a question sticker down there. We want to hear from you. If you have any thoughts, comments, questions, feel free to comment on YouTube. Feel free to, feel free to send an email, a DM, whatever you want. We love interacting with you guys. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Nerdiest Podcast. We'll be back in 2 weeks for what we're hoping is going to be a really interesting episode that I'm excited about. We'll see what happens. No. If you're not following us on Instagram, one more time, we're going to tell you the Nerdiest Podcast on Instagram, the Nerdiest Podcast on YouTube, Nerdiest Podcast on Twitter, all of our personal links on YouTube, everywhere. Follow us on the internet. Long story short, follow us on the internet. All the links are in the description down below. Thank you so much for listening and supporting the show. We really appreciate it. And we will see you in the next episode. Bye.